Beloved, I'm talking to you directly because I think you are the only one. Oh my gosh. I watched the Jackass Daddy issue short again before coming here. I love you so much. Aw, my dearest one. Um, yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Uh, Beloved, I think you're the only one today. And I have a chill stream because I don't really want to do. I need a break from the Kraloth animatic. There's two shots left, plus the horse shot. Fuck the horse shot. Fuck the horse shot to hell. Uh, and I don't really want to work on it tonight because I have all of the weekend to finish it basically. So I don't have to. So I'm not gonna. So I think I want to draw Jack's new staff. I think that's kind of what I had in mind. I have some poses here that I might sketch. But since you're not able to talk, since I assume you're doing dishes, I may turn on the Torn compilation. I think that'll be fun. I mean, it's a chill one. It is a chill stream. I'm very tired. I was gonna ask exactly for that. Well, perfect. Let's turn on the Torn compilation then. And call it a night. Jack Staff, Jack Staff, Jack Staff. The wizard's staff has a knob on the end. That's a Discworld reference. Dang it, you don't know that. Dang it. If Jacob were here, Jacob would scream. Okay, enough of me. Let's listen to the Torrent compilation. Oh, beloved. Okay. Oh, hi, Scotty! Okay, I will not do the Torrent compilation until truly chat is dead. So, what's up, Scotty? I'm gonna draw Jack's staff today. That's the plan. I'm thinking about turning on the Torrent compilation or an episode. Scotty, how would you prefer? Especially because how would you prefer? What would you prefer? Especially because my beloved is doing dishes, I assume, and can't talk. So it'd be a lot of pressure on you, Scotty. Torrent comp. Alright, let's do the Torrent comp. Okay, I have to set that up, so everybody be patient. I'm gonna start it, and I need you all to be so honest in chat, and by you all I mean only Scotty, if it's too loud or too quiet.
Jack, you wake up before everyone else in the morning. I mean, before even Kraloth, who is usually first up to prepare his spells. He likes to do some morning devotionals, but you have your own reasons for this.
Morning is the time Jack likes to get up. He looks at the sun, sort of says a quick prayer to Lathander, and then calls back Kieran, his owl, from Waterdeep, summoning it into this pocket dimension, and then back out, hopefully with a message from Torin and news that help is on the way.
He affectionately nuzzles your hands as he pulls himself out of nowhere, this owl that you love. And you can tell from the clattering sound from within the scroll tube that there is a letter inside.
Yes, and I take a minute to, way to go, Kieran. Thank you so much for making that journey.
No problem!
You were missed.
Thanks!
And I open up the scroll tube and see what it says.
Dated Eliant 26. My Jack, imagine my surprise upon reading the contents of your letter. Not to find that you've encountered some peril, but instead that you're so close to home. Last I heard from you, you were on your way to Yartar? I can't keep up with you. Of course, I stormed immediately from my quarters and made for the castle ward to rally the troops at your behest. I was in the middle of a shave. You should have seen me. I was given audience by one Captain Sidri Hanlar, who took your map and assured me that the new Open Lord would certainly hear my news. Gods, you've been away for far too long. You haven't even seen her yet. Lady Laeral Silverhand has held the station for a paltry month or two, and may see this as an opportunity to prove her mettle. I can't wait to hear what you think of her. However, There's more than I can safely put in a letter. Please exhibit a little more caution with your quill in the future. You know the workings of this city better than I, and I'm surprised you couldn't fathom your missive being intercepted. Your mind must be frazzled by the goblins. I recall your friend, Lady Nandar, and I am devastated by your news. According to the parlor maid, the lady's sister Amalthea is visiting in Tribor for High Harvest-tide. I left a message with our shared regrets and promised to call again when the lady returns. Did you say giants? As for your father, well, I'll steal my nerve and drop in on him in the next day or so, though, between you and me, darling, I'd prefer the giants. Please promise me you won't do anything daft. I remain your loyal servant and love you, Torin. P.S. Kieran is looking well, despite your penchant for writing letters so long that he flies in circles. Oh, well, I suppose he isn't even an owl, really.
I think Jack spends like a good half an hour reading the message a couple of times, sort of savoring the words from his from Torin before putting it back on the scroll tube and stowing it safely aside, going to find the others to, share the news and share some of the ideas he's had about these ogres in the cave.
The Dock Ward is a crowded neighborhood of winding streets, capped off with a vast, new-looking harbor. Hundreds of people rub shoulders and part for carts drawn by beasts of labor. Beggars and sailors and merchants of all races pack the stalls in the marketplaces, and the taverns are full despite the early hour. A 3-story tavern leans into the street from its corner perch overlooking the harbor. A warmly burnished glow emanates from inside, and the sounds of a band reach your ears. All of its windowsills are planted with flowering vines. A painted wooden sign hangs above the doorway with the image of a tarot card, the 9 of Cups, and below it, the blocky name Copper Cup Fest Hall.
I like the sound of the music coming out of there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leap off my horse and just sort of toss the reins vaguely in the direction of one of my friends and sort of rush inside.
Inside, 2 wide wooden banks of stairs curve to the left and right, while a clean bar ahead of you is staffed by a retinue of attractive bartenders in matching burgundy aprons. The place is packed with people eating and drinking and enjoying the music from the band. 2 must occupy one of the back rooms deeper in the bar. Jack, this is a familiar place to you.
One of my favorite things about it is just the way they change the music up around the day. There's always music playing, but it's a really lively place.
It's like daytime rap. Yo, we are hanging out. We're down by the lake. It's not a lake, it's an ocean, Drake. No, I'm not Drake. That's not my name. Don't call me that. It's okay, we're freestyling today.
Early morning freestyle.
Doran lashes his horse to the post outside of the tavern.
I guess you and I will stable them then.
Do you go inside with Jack?
Yeah, I follow him.
Great.
Yeah, and Kraloth and I will take one horse each with our horses and find the stable entrance.
It's just around the back, so you guys
board.
have to go through the alleyway.
Perfect.
Feed them, give them a little treat, and then pat their butts and head inside.
Not shit farts. I don't want to pat shit farts.
One of the bartenders looks you up and down, Jack, and says, Torin, Jack's here. And down from one of the staircases that flanks the left of the bar, a handsome-looking man, a human with auburn hair, comes running, and he jumps into your arms.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I give him a big hug and kiss him hello. And
Yeah, he runs his fingers through your hair, and he's like, Jack, darling, I was expecting you for High Harvest-tide. What happened?
Would you believe that we walked up a set of stairs into a cloud giant's castle and were carried to Golden Fields instead?
No.
Oh man, it has been a hell of a couple
You'll
of...
have to tell me
Yeah,
everything.
no,
And who's this?
I'm Doran. And I barge in between them and put my hand out.
He grasps your hand warmly.
I don't think I've let go of Torin's hand, but I'll certainly open up a little bit. Be like, this is Doran Ironfist. He's a really fabulous blacksmith and an old soldier and a new friend.
So pleased to make your acquaintance.
You too. It's always nice to meet somebody with a similar sounding name. Torin, I'm Doran. And still with an outstretched hand.
Doran Ironfist. I am flummoxed.
Oh, you've heard the name before.
Of course I have.
Well, I have been in the town before, and maybe you've heard me ordering drinks at this tavern.
I wrote about you in a letter too.
No, in a letter, too. That's right.
Yes. Will you be staying long?
At least tonight, I hope. I'm not sure really how long our business is going to let us stay here. I hope for a little while at least to catch up.
And what's your business? He throws an arm over your shoulders, and Doran, he puts a hand on your back, and he steers both of you toward a private booth.
I think at that point, Red
You guys
and
come in
Kraloth
through the
kind
front
of come
door.
through the front door and
Yeah.
like look around. Smells delicious in here, like roast chicken and warm bread. Focaccia, maybe?
All things that need to be in my stomach right
Me
now.
too. And we walk over to the bar, kind of not even noticing where the other guys have gone just yet.
Food.
Very
Food.
simple animals. us.
100%. I feel like we just love what's that style
Just
of
love
anime
life.
anime where the food like
It's so good. I like Studio Ghibli
the
stuff.
Studio Ghibli yeah the food is just like incredibly detailed
Just so
and beautiful
detailed.
and I just have like an image of our cartoon selves like in front of these
Yeah.
like plates that are piled
So
high.
good.
Just-
And I think this, for some reason, I get the impression this place, like obviously
Yep.
with the harvest and stuff, excels at like really decadent and
Of
delicious
course.
foods. And we're like ordering them. And then, yeah, my passive perception, I notice them in the corner. I'm like, oh, let's get enough for everyone. And I start like bringing the 2 plates over.
they're like wobbling.
We slide the plates down and slide in. Hello. And who is this, Jack?
Torin, this is Red and Kraloth. They've been traveling with me as well.
So nice to meet you, finally.
Nice to meet you. We've heard things about you.
And Jack's told me so much about you. Please make yourself at home.
We are doing so right now.
I can see that. Is there anything else I can get for you?
Another beer.
And I empty my beer into the cup.
He does a little claps at one of his serving staff, and they hustle around trying to clear out the recently drained glasses from the table. And Torin is immediately just like laser focused back on Jack. He's like, so you have to tell me everything.
I mean, there's so many giants actually, and like I think Jack goes on like scatterbrained, a little bit
Yeah,
anxious, nervous,
yeah.
like explaining the like whole tale of
He
what's
can't
happened.
finish
and-
one sentence.
Yeah, like
before
he's
cutting
so excited
himself
about the
off.
next idea to.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say hi to Alex and Andy and Rob and Scotty again and my love again. I also wanted to say that I've picked the days for the character streams, if all y'all are interested to know. Next week will be Kraloth, the week after will be Doran, and then it goes Mari, Jack, Joe, and Red based on a random dice roll. So, yeah. Let's get back to breaking our own hearts with Torin. Whee!
And Torin's talking on top of you too. He's like, and you know, the Lady Laryl Silverhand, well, of course she's a human, but she looks so good. She's 2 centuries old.
Well, no, and I know my mom used to. I met her because they're sister in Silvery Moon, and like I think we're having 3 conversations at the same
Yeah,
And
time.
I think like Red and Kraloth and Doran are looking at each other for a little bit, and then I think Red just makes a move to like slip out of the booth, not in like a rude way. All right, and then like
Let you
slides
guys
out, and
catch
like
up.
goes to find something else at the bar,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
have another drink there, just because it's like a private moment.
Careful with that. You want to join me by the stage?
Yes.
This musician's fantastic.
Meanwhile, Torin's like tucking a lock of hair behind Jack's ear, and he's like, honestly, Jack, to mention that you think that it was the Zentarum agents who coordinated a coup against Lady Nandar to write it so plainly in a letter, you must be out of your head.
There was just so much going on. I needed to communicate everything we needed to get the help. You saved a whole village by
No.
getting it over there. We
I
were
did
able to.
nothing. Seriously.
If it wasn't for you, we would have had to fight a whole village, and because of you, we got to celebrate and hold a funeral, and it was really it was a hard day.
It shifts over to Doran and this other female. And I think we all kind of link
You guys
eyes
all
at that
say
point.
friends simultaneously.
Yeah.
Torin says, I've been wanting to ask you this for some time, Johan. You're the dearest person in my life, and the closest to my heart anyone has ever been. From what you say, it sounds like you could get in a whole lot of trouble. I'm afraid for your life. Darling, you're a lot of things. You're a geographer. You're an alchemist. You've got a book on the go. You were talking about doing that dig a while back, and then, there's that offer from the Delul Academy. What I'm saying is, why don't you stay here with me?
And there's this really like a pause. You can see Jack's been afraid of this question. Like
He's looking into your eyes.
Torn, I want to. I want to stay. I love you. I love this place. I love the idea of this life we could have together. And I right now, like a couple of days ago, I got told about a prophecy and giants reordering the world, and I want to, but I can't. I'm sorry.
He stands up from the table and picks up your glass and
Don't.
wipes the spot underneath it. I understand.
No, Torin, please.
Nothing has changed between us, Jack. I guess I'm looking for something that you can't give me. I really hope that you change the world and that these giants, I hope they don't know what's coming for them. And he stands up and he goes behind the bar to like confer with some of his serving staff and get back to his job for a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jack's probably crying a little bit.
Oof. And at that moment, Doran comes back, and he's a little bit tipsy on his feet. He's carrying 2 beers, one for you, and he says, "Oh, where'd Torn go?"
Oh, he had to get back to work.
Ah, well, that's shitty luck. My luck's not much better. It turns out that female dwarf was actually a male. It's tough to meet people that you can trust in this world.
And he sits down beside you.
Yeah, people you can love and trust are rare. You shouldn't let them just walk out of your life.
Definitely not.
As I think back to my own situation of broken hearts.
Red is sitting at the bar as Torin enters the frame on the other side.
Yeah.
Torin, you know, Jack has told me so much about you. I'm so glad you light each other up.
He's really something.
He is. And you know what? There's something about that man that just makes me want to kiss him.
Okay.
And you guys have been apart for so long. I'm so happy that you finally get to embrace and spend some time together, because really, at the end of the day, these moments are all that matter. Nothing else. And I like pick up a drink and like turn around the bar and like go to toast Jack, who's like talking to Doran, and turn back and Torn's like gone. He's like excused himself.
Yeah, he mutters as he leaves. He says something like, "I guess these moments are all I have."
To that, right, like down the
Dances and eat their food and drink their beer.
Back in Jack's world.
Jack is heading to the Copper Cup, hoping to find Torin and have a word with him.
You look in the window as you approach the fest hall, and Torin is very busy. It's dinner time, so it's like prime time for the fest hall. He's rushing around, directing his wait staff, overseeing stuff in the kitchen, shaking hands with important guests. There's a crew of sailors that are really requiring his attention. You see him in his element. There's like a couple of beads of sweat on his brow that he absentmindedly dashes away with one of his rolled up sleeves. And always there is this ever-present smile on his face as he does the business of entertaining and maintaining this bar that his family's had for generations.
So there's like this look through the window watching him in his element, and then Jack swallows really hard and walks into the room.
Torin's eyes slide over you and then register who you are, and you see his smile falter for just a second, and a blush hits his cheeks. And he walks over to you quickly. He's got his arm full of empty glasses that are slick with beer. Jack, thank you for coming back. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said anything before. That was really not my place.
I know it's not a good time, but if you had a moment tonight, I'd love to talk, if that's okay.
Yeah. Can you wait? Give me 5 minutes.
I'll wait as long as you need.
Okay. And he runs back to the kitchen, drops off the glasses. You see him give a couple of instructions to his bar staff, and then he pulls you out a side door into the alley, into the cooling night.
I know this is really hard, and I wish we could be somewhere else or live a different life, but I can't stay. I think we're leaving pretty soon, and if it's too hard and you don't want to hear from me, I won't write. I can leave. But I'd love to still write to you and still be able to see you.
Jack, don't do this. I overstepped my bounds earlier.
No, you, the, that, I mean,
Listen, it's your birthday coming up.
soon.
I haven't forgotten. I don't think I'll probably see you before then because you're heading out of town with your friends and who knows. But I got something for you and I would love to be able to give it to you if that's okay.
Sure. That would be okay.
He hands you a gift wrapped in shiny paper and he says, Don't open it now.
I'll put it in my bag, and we're probably not leaving to tomorrow. I don't know when you're done, but I could stay.
I would love it if you would stay here tonight.
Okay.
He throws his arms around you. You guys share a passionate embrace.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he looks over his shoulder as he goes back into the bar where all of his obligations are and looks out at you in the street where all of your obligations are. And he says, I'll see you in a couple hours.
I love you.
And he runs back inside.
Sitting around a table
Right,
in the
right.
bee in the barrel.
Yeah, I think
Well-
you guys were closing on a bar, and I was sleeping over at Torrens.
Yeah,
That's
so
right,
I,
right.
I want to start out with Jack and Torin. Torin and Jack are in Torin's chamber. The candles are lit. There's the remnants of a fire smoldering in the fireplace. It's a chilly night. I think Kieran has let himself back into the room and you're both laying in bed. There's a little bit of some sweaty pillow talk going on.
Yeah. Maybe it is just a moment of quiet where there's this space for like a conversation about could any of the stuff they talked today what future might hold, and I think Jack is like flinching away from that conversation, trying
Yeah.
to just be present in the moment and not spoil it by thinking about futures that can't be. Or
I think Torin's also not keen on repeating the events of this afternoon. He reaches up and pushes a lock of hair out of your eyes, and he says, Jack, that tabaxi you travel with said that he wants to kiss you today. I just want you to tell me that there's nothing that I need to worry about, please.
oh no, why would
I don't know. I don't know why he said it. Just tell me there's nothing there.
oh Torrin, there's nothing there. I'm not sure there's anything there at all, and that's the biggest mystery to me. I don't understand a single thing he does.
What do you mean?
He decided to be the only one in his giant family to come and sell arrows on this side of the pond, so he says, but he set out not knowing where he ended up. He ended up in a bar, and I hired him once to help me haul some stuff to a dig site, and then we ended up here.
Sounds like you don't like him very much.
He's really thoughtful and smart in some really specific ways, but just endlessly frustrating in some others. Like the other day, he woke up. He literally had a prophetic dream of some kind. His fur smelled of sea spray, and he was talking about a whole other awful ritual of sacrifice he'd seen,
No.
and then thought, it's not worth talking about. I don't want to talk about it. It's just a dream.
But why does he want to kiss you?
When did he say that?
Just at the bar. You and I had just spoken together this afternoon, and I was getting back to work. He said that he thinks you're a great guy and he sometimes wants to kiss you.
Oh, I'll talk to him, but I promise you there isn't anything between he and I. That's not I don't connect with him in that way at all.
That's good to know, I guess. It worries me that you have people in your party that you're going to have to rely on. He seems like kind of a loose cannon.
In a pinch, Red was the one who kept his head and told me where to put pressure and helped me keep Kraloth alive. The time he was on the ground dying, and the other time he was on the ground dying when we were in Nightstone with those bandits barreling down at us. I mean, Red was the one who had his head there and helped me get through it. Without him, I mean, we'd have probably died before the letter I sent you had any chance to save that town. So he's got skills. He's an incredible shot. I've seen him put an ogre down with 2 arrows.
That's some comfort, at least.
Yeah.
Jack, listen, about what I asked you earlier. Forget I said anything. I understand that you're busy.
No,
and please, just... It seems like right now Faerun needs you more than I do. Just don't fucking die, okay?
Torrin, what you were talking about, that life, sometimes I wish that was what we could be. And I would never ask you not to work at the Copper Cup, not to this is your endeavor, and it's I carry a piece of you with me everywhere. You're always in my heart. You're never far from my thoughts.
He embraces you and then excuses himself to go to the washroom. You see like a glimmer of tears in his eyes, maybe, and then he returns after a minute, and the two of you hold each other and fall asleep. Nothing happened.
Hey,
Nothing
guys.
sneaky.
No, I mean, Jack's plans to get up early, do his prayers to Lathander, try and get up early enough to make Torin a cup of tea sort of before he wakes up. So there's a little bit of like service in bed for someone who serves everyone else the rest of their life.
Oh,
Nice.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
He's obviously super appreciative. And you guys spend, the last half hour together
Yeah.
of the morning. And then he sort of regretfully gets his things together to start his day at work. It's a day like any other day for him.
I won't leave town without saying goodbye.
Okay.
Doran wakes and braids his beard
yeah.
after, I guess.
So I think Jack comes down the stairs, kisses Torin, who goes back into the kitchen and comes to join you.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Jack. We have a new friend.
Morning.
Pleasure to meet ye, Master Jack.
The excavated site. Then we want to hit
Yes.
up Old Gnawbone and then hopefully head Shadowtop Cathedral.
Torin waves a handkerchief out of the top window.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a moment where the horses are ready and Jack dashes up the stairs to kiss Torin goodbye and say I love you one more time and say I'm coming home, I promise.
He holds onto the embrace, breathes you in, and says, "Be safe."
You too.
I think I'd say bye to Torn as well. I don't want to be rude.
In fact, Torin is probably like, goodbye, Jack. Goodbye, Kraloth. Goodbye, Red. And then Jack's like, bye, Torin. And then Torin's like, bye, Doran. Bye, Orin.
All right, and we all ride towards the, North Gate, I guess?
To the north of the city, the day dawns bright on Marpenoth 17. Jack, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday.
Yeah, he's a little keen about it. He's up. Jack's up early like he normally is to say his prayers to Lathander.
And as he exits the tent, Red specifically knew about the birthday and got up early. And all of the colorful leaves that he's been collecting are strung.
I added kind of the whole birthday scene because I like the whole birthday scene. So it's not Torin related, but you are all going to listen to the whole birthday scene. Sorry. Rest in peace.
In like a streamer-esque way. There's red leaves and yellow leaves and green leaves, all in these sort of makeshift with bowstrings connecting them to the crops of trees surrounding us. And he's woken up Kraloth and Doran before your prayers. And the minute you exit, you hear all of us, Surprise! Happy birthday, buddy!
Whoa!
Orin starts strumming the little guitar.
And of course, we sing Happy Birthday in Faerun, which goes, Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jack.
You would, except for that horrible lich who'd put a copyright on that whole song. And it's,
Yeah.
I slayed that lich.
Yeah, and we're all there, and like Red is so palpably excited. Happy birthday! And he runs up and hugs you.
Jack will give Red a big hug back. Thank you. This is really touching. Thank you.
Well, we knew it was a special day. We knew that you couldn't be with where you probably wanted to be, but we wanted you to feel comfortable.
Well, I'm happy to be sharing the road with you guys tonight.
You got some presents. I don't know if you want to open them.
Yeah, well, so I think the in the back of his mind, he's thinking of the bottle of wine. He's like, well maybe we'll have a little dinner tonight, and I've got a bottle of something, but Torin had also brought me something. So I think he's waiting for maybe a private
Oh my
moment to
God.
open that one.
Are you guys ready
For
for
sure,
a
and I
bitchy
think
birthday
we
letter?
all know that about
from
you.
his
So it's like
dad.
the surprise is here, and we're like, okay, we'll go do some things. Let's go find some nice meat.
Jack, as you settle down for the morning to do your prayers, a familiar glossy black raven lands at your feet. This is Iston, your father's familiar. He clicks his beak regally and drops a message in front of you before taking wing back into the sky.
So there's a whole moment where it's like, wow, he remembered. That's great. Of course, he doesn't want to hear from me. Iston takes off immediately. He doesn't give a shit about any message back. Dad doesn't want a damn thing. He just needs to be like, do this. So there's like, it's like touching, but also enraging in every way to be like, fucking typical.
I'm messaging you his letter if you'd like to read it for us.
Oh, I'd love
I think
to
it
read
would
it.
be better in your voice than mine.
All right. So the letter's dated Suzail, Moonrise, Marpanath the 15th, 1492. Johannes Yveben Page, Wilderness between Waterdeep and elsewhere. I hope this letter finds you well. I've just heard from your sister that you've taken off on a lofty quest, and I must say I'm pleasantly surprised. I'd begun to worry you were going to settle both for the rote academia of Waterdeep and for the courtship of someone with half your talent and lifespan. Olinar manages to visit at high harvest tide, by the way. She brought a jar of candied plums she's crazy about. I should think she'd like to see you sometime. Why don't you drop in on her? For myself, I've been touring the Lake of Dragons lately, Dragonmere in the Cormarian tongue. Fascinating stuff, enough to furnish me with notes for at least my next 2 books. Did you know that Sarek are native to this region? There are writings that mention a changing of the stars. I'm just finishing up on translation. Whoever said old men can't keep up, huh? I'm proud of you, Jack, for it seems you are finally, truly following in my footsteps and bringing your share of glory to the House of Wands. I can see myself in you setting out to traverse the wilds of Faerun with your hirelings. Anywho, happy birthday, my boy. Enclosed you'll find a note for 1,000 gold pieces, which you can convert in any decent city, as you well know, though be sure to check the reputation of the place first, Johannes. There are some really exquisite new spells out there these days that will invoke such indistinguishable illusions it would fool even your mother. May the Morning Lord's light shine down upon you, Lord Mascar Wands. He folds it safely, puts it in his map case with everything else, and pulls out the little gift from Torin.
The small gift that Torin gave to you, Jack, inside of the colorful paper is a small wooden box, skillfully made and closed with a silvery latch. A flick of the latch enables you to lift the lid, revealing a small forged silver instrument. It's about 6 inches long. On one end, 2 carved ram's heads face away from each other with their horns interlocked, forming a handle. There's a seam just underneath this sculpted handle. And as you release the handle from its sheath, it reveals 2 blunt silver prongs. This looks to be an antique cork puller.
Yeah, so there's definitely a moment of like just all smiles on his face because, of course, Torin thinks of everything. He's a very thoughtful boy. And then
It's more than 100 years old.
oh, beautiful. Do I know the silversmith who made it?
It was probably crafted between 400 and 600 years ago, judging from the style, probably local to Waterdeep area. You would think this may have been a piece by Barad Leone.
That's incredible. What a antique piece of history. Jack is just stunned. So he comes back from his prayers a minute ago, all smiles, and he was trying to be like, well, let's save this for later, but can't help himself now as he sees, I'm sure, Kraloth is making breakfast. And
Yeah, I think we've come back with some special meat, like
Birthday
a rabbit or
breakfast.
something. Yeah, we come back with a skinned rabbit. I'm like pulling the skin off it as we arrive. Jack, you done your prayers.
yeah, and a visit from my dad's familiar, so that had a letter with it, which
Oh.
you know.
That's nice that he remembered.
It is. I'm gonna take it for what it's worth. There, it was nice of him to remember and bother to sending a letter. So that's nice. You guys got to see this. And Jack goes into this whole spiel about Barad Leone and some of the other famous pieces and some of like. Do you remember we were in that place in you know the where the guards were? They've famously got some of Barad's pieces there. But anyways, I have one now too. Here is this cork puller, and he pulls out the box that Red was originally supposed to give to him today, but he got a little early, and there's I think it's just enthusiasm as he opens up the
Yeah, and I think
that
Red
box
also
and-
has like, there's no bitterness or anything.
Yeah.
There's like a soft smile on his face, happy that we all get to share it together.
the piece looks very cool.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
You had said at one point in the note from Torin what type of wine it was.
Yeah, so inside of the wooden crate stuffed with straw, there's a dusty black glass bottle with a yellow peeling label that holds a herbaceous liquor. The label is carefully scrawled with green ink. Elderflower brandy, 1475.
I'm sure this pairs beautifully with your breakfast, but why don't we try it anyways? And I take the silver cork puller and very carefully, work the tines in around the cork on this brandy and pop it out. Elderflower brandy from the year Torin and I met. Cheers, I'll sort of say.
That smells delicious.
Take a swig right from the bottle and pass it around. Can't share it with Torin, but I am happy to share it with the four of you.
It's delicious. You're overcome with nostalgia. for your
Doran,
love.
stop drinking! You're drinking too much!
Wow. I must say,
Drains it.
you're certainly surrounded by people that care about you, Jack.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm really touched by the leaves and the decorations. That's really cute. Thank you.
Well, I've got to hand it to Red, because I certainly had nothing to do with that.
Kieran walks over to you and says, hey, boss, I brought you a present. Happy birthday.
Oh, Kieran, thank you.
They drop a dead mouse at your feet.
If you're not going to eat that...
By the time that the bottle of brandy gets back over to me, it's like, cheers, Kieran.
Harlan, that was a very inspired and adorable decoration. You've been planning it, so
I didn't do it
here's-
for that, but thank you for the inspiration.
I love that like Tressums are like these super intelligent creatures,
Yeah.
but still believe that
Fucking
like
cat.
dead creatures are the be all and end all.
There's no question that Kieran knows how this is going to make Jack feel. Like, they're like, I'm going to do this because it's funny. Yeah. So when do you guys celebrate your birthdays, or have you ever?
I haven't, no. I was born in a big litter, so we shared birthdays, so it wasn't really important for us to distinguish one or the other.
That night at camp, you would estimate maybe 6 hours travel away from Jalanthar. So you can make it there. If you start early in the morning, you can make it there around noon. Jack, you receive a letter.
Ooh.
A carrier pigeon falls at your feet, exhausted, falls out of the sky.
There ought to be a better way.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hello, friend.
And it drops a little scroll tube at your feet, and then
I'll make sure the pigeon gets a little water and a little bit of sustenance, and open the scroll tube and see what we got.
I'm holding my Tressum back.
Kraloth's Tressum.
Yeah.
I was gonna say looks
Just like
really-
holding its tail as it's like pulling forward.
Yeah,
I love the idea
yeah,
of
yeah.
Kieran interceding a little bit, just to that like
Yes.
cat territory kind of.
The letter reads like this. Dated October 11. Jack, my love, I hope you're well. The season has been kind to the Copper Cup, so I've been busy, but I miss you every chance I get. We had to change some of our serving staff because there was some drama between the chef and our head bartender. I'll tell you all about it when I get the chance and save the parchment. It's been nice to have Kieran around, and thank you for the company. It does feel a little like you're keeping an eye on me, and you're not really the jealous type, so I hope I haven't done anything wrong to merit your suspicion. That and you didn't send them with a letter, unless perhaps I somehow misplaced it. With the Feast of the Moon coming up, I was hoping you'd be around Waterdeep for at least a short visit. Any chance of that? Your heart, Torin.
Fuck.
Shit. Jack fucking with shit and it fucking back.
Uh-oh. That's no good. Yeah.
What's wrong, Jack? You look all perplexed.
He stands up, like we're in the middle of the camp. I think he stands up, sort of reading it, and like is half trying to like pack his stuff to get back to Everland, is half like looking east, just kind of wandering around without a plan for the
Jack,
moment.
what's going on? What? And Red stands up. Yeah, and he's like, hey, bud, what's going on? You look all...
And I like take the letter and I hand it
Yeah,
to Kraloth to read.
I'm gonna just give the letter away and
Yeah.
and try and figure out.
Well, what's going on? Kraloth, what does it say?
Isn't Kieran right here?
That's Kieran. Kieran isn't with Torin. Who is?
Guys, Doran and I don't understand what's going on.
It's a letter from Torin, just how happy he is that Kieran's there with him. And
Oh, but Kieran's hit. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Jack's like pulled up a fantasy version of a map and a calendar and like.
And Red will be like, look, Jack, it says here, it says it's been a few days that Kieran has been there, that the imp has been there. And
Now, but hold up. How did Torin send this letter also? It may or may not even be genuine.
right.
Somebody could be trying to get us to go to Waterdeep.
Well, hold on. You're thinking too fast. Just relax. I know when it comes to Torin, your heart is pulled in a strong direction. But let's just take this line by line. Look, if this is true, he says at the very least that it's been nice to have Kieran around. And as you said, it might not be a truthful letter. I mean, we're on a very important quest, and there's been a pact with a pretty unusual character there.
I think Torin is probably safe. At least, like, if they're trying to get to me and torture me from afar, well done. I can't imagine who would want to hurt me like that.
Jack, isn't it obvious? It's the imp.
Tomorrow we're going to get to Jalanthar. I think we got to get there and sort out what the hell these dwarves are doing. But then we're still only a day or two away from Everland. Everland has a portal to Waterdeep now. We can get to Waterdeep pretty quick. So I'm going to stay up and write a letter tonight, trying to let Torin know what's up, but try and play it cool. I don't know, or does that put him at risk if he knows we know?
It would put him at risk. Look, Jack, I think, honestly, if this is meant to just mess with you, then the response should be nothing.
If I respond, Torin will get a chance to reply back to me, and then we could at least figure out if he actually sent the letter. But I won't say anything about Kieran, because I don't want to risk Torin letting slip to the imposter Kieran that something's wrong.
But the imp knows, Jack. The minute you send a letter back, doesn't matter what you send, the imp will know that its message was received loud and clear. And if it had any intent to hurt Torin, it will at that point. I know it's tough, but I think until we can get back there, which will be in just 2 days' time, I think you can't respond. It's trying to mess with you. If you let it mess with you, then it will.
Yeah.
And who's to say that the imp won't stop a letter from reaching Torin?
Oh, I write magic letters.
Right. I know you do, but I'm just
That's
saying,
what
like,
it does.
I know they can turn into different kinds of things, and I know our friend, the pigeon here, just delivered this message. I don't want to cast any undue suspicion.
Look, this imp was in our party for weeks, probably days at the very least, and its only intentions at the end of that time was to drive a wedge between us. There is no reason to think that its motivations have changed. It is here to try to cause mischief and mayhem. I think if you respond, you are giving it exactly what it wants. You're a smart man. What do you think the imp wanted from this? It wanted you to be worried. It wanted you to send a message back. It doesn't know that we have the ability to travel there in a flash.
I agree. I think we should just go there in person. It would certainly stop any sort of.
Sentence from ending.
No part of what you're saying doesn't make sense to me. Kraylot's point about this bird is well heard.
I don't think it's the bird. I think
Why
that's
not?
part of what.
Why don't you think it's the bird? What?
Because it doesn't seem like its MO. I mean, why would this imp turn itself into a bird just to deliver a letter to mess with us? It seems a bit
Red the
heavy-handed.
imp whisperer.
Oh, I think when it comes to mischievous backhanded dealings, I feel like I'm well versed in that type of stuff.
Are you now?
Hey, now, I wasn't one of the ones that got duped by the thing.
I made my choices.
Look, regardless, I'm tired. We can't do anything right now. I don't think you should send anything until we go there ourselves. But you're going to do what you think is best, and I respect that, and I support it.
You gonna be all right, Jack?
I gotta clear my head. I'm gonna go for a walk.
All right. And Kraloth stands up. He's got this little bit of string that he's been playing with. And he picks up the cat and says, so where are we going, Jack? Just a little stroll around?
Oh, yeah, I was just trying to...
Oh, you're not going by yourself. Not to be condescending or anything, but there are undead hunt lords that are trying to get your number. And I'm not letting them...
He's not wrong there. That's actually a good point.
You literally said, if they catch you alone... I took those words to heart, so
All right.
where we going,
Genius
buddy?
cleric.
Yeah, fair. And the hut doesn't get set up unless I set it up and it goes away if I leave, so I guess if we're...
Doran, I think, just already like done his tent. He's like, whatever, I'm not waiting on anybody. And Red is like got his shitty tent next to it too.
It's just a blanket over me.
You guys are the tent lords.
We'll do it old school tonight, Doran. Awesome, boys. Slumber party.
Yeah.
And I climb into the tent and we sleep.
Jack like does 5 real quick paces back and forth, feels very trapped in a lot of ways, and then is like, fine, let's try and sleep. Or
I'm
something.
sorry, Jack. You wake up. It's time. It's the day.
Yeah.
You pull back your sheet. It's Doran's head. No, just kidding.
Yeah. It's Uktor 16.
I put that fancy new ring on.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put on my new robe too. I mean, I already have a cloak and a robe, so I'm just
Oh, double
replacing
cloak.
it. No, just
Oh,
walking it
okay.
out. My other one was mundane anyway.
Neat. It looks fancy. planted window. The Copper Cup's sign and its many planted windowsills are all crusted with icicles. The interior looks dim.
Kraloth turns to Jack.
Jack's going to hold Kieran for a second and connect mentally just to be like, why don't we hide you for a moment so you can pop back in right when we need you. And he's going to put Kieran in that pocket dimension he's able to put his familiars in. So the story's going to check out, kind of.
Kieran curls himself around your neck and gives you a long purr before they disappear into your interdimensional pocket.
And then Jack puts his hand on the door and enters out of the cold.
Thank you, Alex. Inside, the Copper Cup is strangely quiet. Half a dozen patrons sit at the bar, and a table in the far corner is occupied by two fishermen with their feet up, contemplating the fire in front of them. An older human man tends bar, dressed in the standard burgundy apron of the cup. He's probably in his 60s, with curling salt and pepper hair and a creased face. He welcomes you, Jack, with a practiced smile. "Oh, Jack, welcome. Come here."
And we all enter as well, sort of a bit nervously, giving Jack a bit of a wide berth.
What's his name?
Senelm.
Where's Torin? And then, like, not even like hi Senum, but like,
Yeah.
and then he catches himself and says, "Hey Senum, thanks for. It's good to see you. Is Torin okay?"
His eyes dart to the side, and he clears his throat. "You should talk to Lossie. She's upstairs."
Do I know Lossie? Has she been here for a while?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know pretty much everyone here. She's the manager of housekeeping, I guess.
Mm.
Copper Cup's a big place. It's 3 stories, so there's usually a ton of staff here, though this evening it's pretty quiet.
Thanks. I'll go speak with Lossie.
It's raining here. Doran's all wet, and he goes and stands by the fire while he waits for some sort of...
Kraloth and I will head upstairs with Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Until Jack is like, don't come, then we won't,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, you head upstairs and poke your head into a few rooms before you find Lossie. She's got a basket of folded linens, and she's making the bed in one of the guest rooms. She looks exhausted. She's got her hair uncharacteristically not tied in a braid. It's just hanging loose around her face. She turns to greet you. "Oh, hello, Jack, sweetheart. Nice to see you."
What's happened? Where's Torin?
Torin was summoned to the Hall of Serenity to speak with a Dawn Knight. Sir Hegren Teal, I think. I don't fully understand why. Before he left, he said something about needing to clear up a misunderstanding. It's been 5 days now, Jack. Almost 6.
Sir Hogram Steele, you said?
Hegren Teal.
Hey, Doran.
I was just saying, you almost
Yeah.
pulled a Doran there.
Everyone's got a little bit of Doran deep inside.
Sir Hegrin Teal, have I heard of him before?
No.
And the Hall of Serenity is what?
Being that you are a worshiper of Lathander and you're familiar with the Spires of the Morning, you know that the Hall of Serenity is like a building for clerics and magistrates related to the spires.
What was the misunderstanding?
I don't know. He didn't say. I went by that evening after he left to see where he was. We hadn't seen him all day. He missed his shift managing and was starting to get worried. But it was closed. I left, came back the next day to try to see him, and the clergy there, I guess, said that he was being held for a time relating to some charges relating to criminal activity. Can you imagine? I was told he'd have to be held until the matter was put to rest. They didn't answer any of my questions, nearly dragged me out.
Unbelievable.
Red sort of leans forward and says, what's happened around here? The Copper Cup is so much quieter. Is it all just because of Torin?
Staff have been quitting. It's hard to keep good people, I guess. And, well, after Torin was picked up, I'm not sure if people don't want to associate with the Copper Cup or what's happening, but yeah, business has dropped off.
Have you noticed any strange things happening here? Are people leaving for particular reasons?
customers complain about the quality of the rooms. I've been working double hard, especially with the staff who've left to make sure that everything is acceptable, but I suppose we have moths or something, holes in the linens, and
And Red gives a knowing look to the others.
Kraloth nods.
I can't seem to get rid of the vermin either. There's an infestation of rodents in the kitchen.
Did Torin have an animal with him recently?
Yes, he had that owl of yours.
Yeah, where's that owl now?
Oh, I haven't seen him since Torin was picked up.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything we can do to help? In a straightforward way. I don't really want to make beds, but
Not really.
I'm going to go get Torin.
I'll come with you.
So you head downstairs.
I'm curious if Doran picks up on any of this.
And you find the spires of the morning, and you trace your steps, and you manage to find this, what must be the Hall of Serenity. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a large building. It occupies a pretty substantial footprint, and it's several stories tall, within eyesight of the spires of the morning, but not adjacent to it. And on the one side of the building, there's a huge stained glass window that you can tell based on the lead work would depict a thistle. The doors are locked when you try them. It's dark inside. You don't see anyone.
Jack's going to sort of walk around the exterior and just try and message inside to see if he can connect to Torin's mind at all. If he's within 120 feet and vaguely in the direction he's pointing, like in the building up below it, he's got all the time in the world to try and find Torin's mind if he can.
funny to think about that though, because you think normal buildings make sense, but like in a magic city, magic would be so much more difficult to use through like I don't know, wards and shit like that.
I mean, I suppose it's a foot of stone, an inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of
But
wood
what I
with
mean to
blocks.
say is,
So
if
it's
you're a wizard and you have a Hall of Serenity, presumably wizards know about it or in it, you would develop tactics to negate spells being able to pass through.
for sure,
right? Like
it's,
that
it's a
would just
desperate
be-
move at 1 a.m. in an ice storm of a distraught,
It's
person.
super visual. I could see Jack even like crying. as
It's
he's, like,
really
crying.
romantic, actually, in like the classical sense of like this longing and just emptiness being returned. Kraloth, you watch just this soggy wizard, frankly, walking around the perimeter of this building, just expending so much effort and emotional energy trying to reach the man that he loves and just coming up empty, just constantly brick walled.
And
Literally.
And Kraloth stands watch just by the entrance to the alley as Jack goes back and does his thing.
I feel like Jack is like impatient and yanking on the door handles. Come on.
we certainly tried them once.
Could you imagine you do all this and the door's open? You're like, oh, fuck.
You didn't say the magic word. Meanwhile, back at the bar, Red, Doran, and Z, maybe you guys have settled yourselves in Fire of the Morning, where they have an open temple of Lathander. Unlike this hall that you've been trying to access, the Hall of Serenity, this temple here is open to all who might need solace. And maybe you find some sliver of it among the familiar pillars and pews. Maybe there's even someone else here murmuring praise or asking questions to the deities. Kraloth, this feeling of being safe within the four walls of a holy building maybe comforts you as well.
Oh, indeed. And I say, Jack, you did what you could tonight, but at this point, maybe we can find solace in knowing that Torin is being looked after by Lathander and Kellamvor tonight. And tomorrow, maybe we can help him.
Dawn always comes. I think I'm going to stay here and watch the sunrise. I don't know if you want to go get some sleep, but I would, as soon as morning comes, I'm going over to the hall.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sleeping in a warm bed. You sure you're all right here on your own?
I'll be here, yeah. Thank you.
I'll see you in the morning.
And Kraloth, you head back through the darkness of this sleeping city to find your companion. By the base of the stairs, an androgynous elf behind a desk raises their hand for your attention. Good morning. How may I assist you today?
I'm here to see Torin Sheldrick. I understand he's being held. Jack Page of the House of Wands.
Ah, yes, Jack Page. That's just fine. You're known to us here. And you vouch for the character of the indicated party? One Torrin Cheldrick? They leaf through a couple of pieces of paper.
Yes.
Just sign here, please.
What's happened here?
They slide a piece of paper across the desk to you, and a quill hovers above it.
Having walked through the space and seeing the kind of things going on here, have I been able to like determine like what kind of building this is, what its purpose is? Like, is this?
This is a weird mixture of religious personnel, maybe some of whom you're actually kind of fleetingly familiar with. Some people in armor, perhaps, guards and knights, and then paper pushers, magistrates, a couple of members of the city guard that you maybe don't recognize, but you know their ranking from their outfits. This is like a mashup of city and religion.
The two things that should always be separate.
Well, yeah, what's the paper say?
The paper says that you will be retrieving Torrin Cheldrick of the Copper Cup Fest Hall of Dock Ward, and that you vouch for the character of the indicated party. And then there's a space for your name, which already says Jack Page. This was like a magically conjured document.
How come no one else was able to do this before now?
We did see one of Torrin's associates. However, their standing was not determined.
Okay, well, fine. I'll sign it. But I mean, Jack has many questions, but he doesn't want to fuck up the part where he gets Torrin out and by him, and then he can come back and figure out what the fuck was happening.
Their eyes shine brilliantly at you as they take the paper and stamp it magically with some kind of wax. And lovely. The elf rings a bell on the desk, and a serious young woman is at your side in a moment, her whole attention on the desk. Yes, thank you, Ari. If you'll please bring Lord Page to cell 418 and release the prisoner into his care.
Huh.
Thank you, Jack. Be well. And this young clerk starts leading you up the staircase in this busy building.
Ari, how long have you worked here?
She doesn't answer you. She's looking straight ahead, walking very efficiently up the stairs, up the stepped landings up to the 4th floor, just presuming that you're following her, never pausing.
Sorry, did you hear me, Ari?
She doesn't look at you.
So are you not allowed to speak? Or is this is just part of the
What other attempts do you make?
several?
Jack is the Karen of.
Through a series of doors that seemingly open at her step, she leads you past a dozen blank doors and then opens one seemingly at random. Torrin, your love, is lying on his back on a cot with his hands clasped on his stomach. When he sees you, he leaps up,
Oh, good.
takes 3 steps towards you, and is in your arms in a moment.
Thank God you're okay. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Jack, oh my God. Thank you.
We're gonna get you out.
I didn't hear from you. I didn't know.
I know.
And then you realize that he's not talking anymore. He's looking over your shoulder at someone else standing behind you in the hallway. Lord Johannes Page, scion of the House of Wands, what an absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance. The man standing behind you is middle-aged. He's got brown hair, kind of thinning on top, but not like in a self-conscious way. He's got a neat brown suit coat and a fashionable blue cloak. You know that it's like one of the most recent fashions in Waterdeep. The young clerk who led you here to Torrin's cell is standing at even more abrupt attention, if that were at all possible, from when you met her earlier. Her eyes are just focused on the ground in front of her. So this is probably someone who commands a lot of importance in this building.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Errol Artis, an old friend of Karina's. She spoke very well of you. Please, if you wouldn't mind, come with me to discuss some matters. I insist. Yeah, young Ari here will take Torrin Cheldrick to gather his things, and you can meet him downstairs in just a moment. Ari, if you would. And the first time you hear her speak, she says, "Yes, hi, Lord Captain." And she takes Torrin by the elbow and leads him down the hall.
I'll be right behind you, Torrin.
The rain continues on this morning. Not as cold as yesterday, but passersby.
Later,
Understandable. My dear man, of course, you must be very busy. And what brings you to Waterdeep?
I'd heard Torin was in a spot, and I wanted to look out for him. What happened to bring him into your attention?
He's going through a box on the table beside him. He finds a pipe and a tobacco pouch. He's like setting around to cleaning it and adding some tobacco to the pipe. How well do you know Torin Sheldrick?
Very well. What happened? Can you please just tell me what happened?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be withholding nor dance around the issue. Of course, this must be of some concern to you as a close associate of his. We received a letter indicating him as a culpable party, someone who had some contact with devils, that there could be some sort of ring operating out of the Copper Cup, and we've been observing it for some time now. Do you know anything about these charges?
Can I see the letter?
Oh, I don't have it on me.
Right. I'm not saying necessarily now, but can we make that available to me?
Quite possibly. A halfling man enters the offices with some writing utensils and sets up in a corner without saying a word.
I haven't been in Waterdeep in some time. I can't comment on what sort of ring of creatures you might have uncovered.
And again, it is not my intention to put you on the spot here, merely to gain some context. And of course, you vouched for his quality in order to retrieve him from our capture. And so consider it a matter done. As you say, you have been traveling outside Waterdeep for quite a few weeks now, by my record. Do you have any other names that we should be suspecting as part of this devil ring? Have you encountered any other instances of devil worship or demonic activity within the populace? Any names we can have? We're just looking for new avenues to approach, really.
What sort of redemption have you been able to bring these people to?
We're bringing them to the light.
How do you mean?
As a part of the teachings of Lathander, we are, how shall I say, reordering their religious priorities.
What do you
So,
mean?
Jack, are there any details that you would like to add to our investigations, or?
I don't know that I have enough context to provide anything relevant at this time.
No other names that we should be noting as part of any kind of devil activity or demonry?
At this time, I don't know that I have anything relevant
I understand.
without the proper context of what's going on here. Maybe I'm just going to go with Torin, and we can sort this out later.
Just finally, as a parting offer, Jack, I understand that you're a busy man and surely have much to do today. We can always use people like you in the Order of Anura. As a fledgling and ambitious organization, someone with your nose for trouble would be a real boon to the rank and file. What am I saying? You'd stand a head and shoulders above most. I could create a position for you. Any interest?
You know, there's some real troubling dangers that we face here in the north, and being aligned with the Order of Anora might be one of the necessary steps to saving Farron. And so I wouldn't take anything off the table at this point.
He stands up, puts his pipe down, and shakes your hand warmly before gesturing to the door. My office is always open.
Thank you so much.
And you take your leave.
I do, quickly.
Standing at the bottom of the long staircase, attended by another serious acolyte and bathed in colorful morning light, Torin Sheldrick shifts his weight awkwardly. He catches sight of you, and relief washes over his face.
All right. Let's call it a damn night, everybody. It is 7:34. I even went overtime. I kind of lost track of time. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Scotty. Oh, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I really like the idea of having like exposed sections, especially because I think like a solid wood staff might be kind of heavy for a weak little Jack. But yeah, the chains are kind of weird. I don't know. I feel a certain way about it, but either way, it's 7:30. Let's call it a night. Good night, everybody. I have to find the stop streaming button. There it is. Boop. And say it with me. Boop.